Welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 147. Today we're going to talk about valuing the process and not the result, fixing back pain with correct seating posture. What else do we have today? Oh, overthinking what you say to your friends and getting all worried about it. And then how to grind at a healthy level in regards to balancing social life and school. Welcome to the Ask Weldon Show. I am Weldon. I'm an esports psychology trainer, sports psychology trainer in esport, and a League of Legends coach. And this is the show where you send in questions and I answer them. I've coached a number of professional teams, and this is my way of trying to create a door or a window so that you can pull the knowledge that I may or may not have out of me for the masses. I don't always know what to create content about, so I'm relying on you guys to create the content for everybody else. All right. You can check out the show live, by the way, on twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. That is where I stream it every morning. Every morning that I stream it, we also intersperse this with VOD reviews and content and other like lectures or content pieces. So you can find that there. You have a slight advantage because there's still a small audience, so you can jump in and you can ask questions in chat. Before and after I record the show, I answer them and talk to the people who are watching live. So make sure to check that out. And meanwhile, let's get into the first question. No other updates.
Hey Weldon, I'm calling in during Ask Weldon 145. A little bit active in your chat right now, but a question did just pop to mind for me. I have some personal stuff going on. Missing the girlfriend. She is abroad, halfway across the world. I'm trying to now rebalance my time between school and work. I have less commitments now that she is abroad. I would like to rank up, currently playing at a gold level. Between team balance and solo queue commitment, how best would you suggest working on grinding at a healthy level while balancing school and social life?
All right. Very good question. This is a question that everybody should be asking, even if they are not necessarily having a girlfriend abroad. So you have a little bit more free time. Maybe you just got dumped. Maybe you don't have a girlfriend. Maybe you do have a girlfriend and you want to add, you want to balance social life and girlfriend, and you want to just dump school on the wayside, fail every class. That was my choice, university. I realized that I could only do swimming. Out of swimming, girlfriend, school, and video games, I could only do 3 of them. So I just quit school. I mean, I didn't quit school. I just stopped going to class. Well, I didn't stop going to class. I just stopped doing any work besides class. That didn't work out very well. And then so the next year I just quit swimming. Video games wins. That was Dota, by the way, at the time, I think. Actually, it was Counter-Strike until Dota came out. And then and Warcraft 3, and then Dota came out, and it was the end. It was the end. That was it. That was the end. Anyway, okay, so you want to grind at a healthy level while balancing school and social life. Okay, so first of all, ditch the team. I would say if you want to grind, if your goal is to rank up and grind, then you should be, and that's what you want to do with your free time. Then you're not going to have a lot of free time after school and social life, and so you're going to need to focus completely on improvement, which is like a solo journey. Improvement. I mean, you can join a soccer team, right? But think of all the soccer team. Just think of the average soccer team or football team, right? You have a bunch of people there and they're all playing. How many of them go pro? How many of them are there just to have a good time? How many of them are distracted by the social environment of the team? The people who go pro in football and football/soccer are the people who are at home after practice and before practice for 10 hours a day, kicking the ball against the wall and juggling in their backyard, okay? The pure pursuit of mastery is a process which bodes no distraction. So when you mix it up with a social process which you enjoy, such as competition or having fun with a team, you're essentially just wasting time that you could be spending improving. Now, it's not a waste of time if you want to be competing and you want to win, or if you want to be experiencing the joy of being on a team and training together and having all those social aspects related to it, then it's what you should be doing instead of improving. You should be focusing on those things and having fun with those things. But if your goal is mastery, then it's kind of like taking your stick and seeing a mountain and climbing up it. You don't see a lot of Confucian philosophers with their sticks, like hiking in a little group, with their cameras, taking pictures of the wilderness. No, they're alone with their thoughts on their journey. So that is how I see the journey of mastery. So I recommend just forget the team stuff, focus on yourself. That'll keep the distractions down, and it'll prioritize your time. And then after that, you have to choose a specific number. I would say pick a specific number of games you allow yourself to play a day. And this can be anywhere from 2. I think 2 is the basic minimum if you want to actually improve. 2 to, let's say, 4 or 5, and give yourself 2 days off a week. And then on the other days, play only those amount of games. You can vary it. Also, you can be like, okay, Monday 2, Wednesday, I can do 4. Great. And the rest of it is, you play those games, and that's it. So when you have more time in the day, you're going to be preparing for those games. And when you have less time in the day, you're just going to be kind of burning through them and trying to focus as much as you can on being in flow state and learning. And that is the most regimented way I know to improve, is to set a calendar and specific number of games and stick to it. Because what happens is your mind prioritizes those games when you prioritize them. When you say, okay, I have literally 2 games today and I want to go to diamond or above. So what am I going to do in these 2 games that's actually going to matter to help me improve? And you're going to try really hard, and your mistakes are going to hurt twice as much, 10 times as much, and your brain is going to learn from that, from the fact that you have that kind of like isolation training on your technique. So that's my recommendation. I don't know the answer for your particular situation, so you, Mike, and everybody else who's listening who's in a similar situation, you have to look at your calendar, pull it out, plan some time, and set it aside. All right, thanks for the question. Next question is from Twitter, actually. So this question is from RunItXD, and they ask, lately I've had some back problems playing high-tension games like PUBG. I try to have good back posture, but whenever I get into this high-tension moment, I get too much forward and end up with back pain. Do you have any tips? Okay, so it's really hard to maintain your posture in a high-tension moment. So there's 2 answers to this question. One is how to be aware of your body and maintain your back posture and your body posture in the high-tension moment. And the second part of the answer is how to relieve back pain. Okay, so prevention and cure. For the prevention, it's actually about body awareness. So there's very interesting studies out there that show that professional athletes or elite athletes who are higher level skill have higher levels of body awareness than those who have lesser levels of skill. Now, this is not necessarily this is a chicken and egg issue, right? So is it because they have higher body awareness, they become more elite athletes? Or is it because they are more elite athletes, they develop higher body awareness along the path, right? So I would say we're not really sure about that, but the point is you can actually train body awareness. We do know that. So people went around and said, okay, can we train body awareness? Turns out you can train body awareness, and the way that you do it is through scans, is through visualization scans. So scanning the body from the head to the foot, clenching muscles and relaxing them, and then through centering exercises. And centering exercises are essentially when you realize you're in a moment throughout the day, you pull yourself into your body's physical sensations. So this is very similar to the MAC program, to mindfulness training, things like that. Let's say you're about to get up from a chair. So you pause and you focus completely on your body, and as you get up from the chair, you focus on the movement and the shape of your body. Or when you're walking down the street, instead of just randomly being in thought, you focus on your legs as they're walking. You feel the muscles twisting past each other continuously, and you try to live within your legs and your upper body, and you try to look at yourself from the outside and see the shape, but feel it from the inside, and you feel the pressure of the ground on your feet, which actually is quite difficult because we're really used to ignoring all the sensations that come from the very, very fine pressure sensors that are along the bottom of our feet. So anyway, You can increase your body awareness by pulling yourself out of the day and into these moments of self-awareness and mindfulness about your body throughout the day. And that will carry over into your game. You should try to do it in your game as well. And you'll notice yourself, fixing your posture here and there. And then you might even be able to pull yourself out of these high tension moments, or you might be able to actually see your body when you're doing it. It's a very interesting fact that you can actually see your fingers in your hands when you're playing things like PUBG. I mean, if you put your hands on your mouse and your keyboard right now and just pretend you're gaming and you look straight ahead at me in this video, you can see out of the periphery, you can see your hands and your mice. So you're always aware of, what your hands and your fingers are doing when you're playing, but you're never seeing it. You're just ignoring it. It's getting up to your brain and bouncing off in terms of a visual signal, getting up to your brain from your eyes too. And so if you can just be aware of that and kind of see it at the same time, you can actually get better volitional control over your choking in the long run, which is what this body awareness thing is about. It's about paying attention to how your body acts when it's automated. Then when you're choking, you can replicate that a little bit. Okay, cure. The cure is yoga. I use yoga. I had back, so I don't know if this is the real cure, right? Probably go see a chiropractor, right? I'm not a doctor, but I had back pain. It ended up being incredibly severe back pain after a while. This is in 2014. I did yoga. It solved all of it. So that's my answer for that. Now I do yoga every single morning. My back is freaking beast-like. I mean, I started lifting, right, after doing yoga for a while, and everything about me was weak. My legs, my grip, my arms, whatever. But my back could handle 2 plates easy. I mean, it was like zero problem ever, because yoga is really healthy for the spine. All right, next question, you guys.
Hi, Weldon. I have 2 questions for you today. Question 1 is, how do you teach people to value success over valuing just not failing? And second, and this is a little more specific to traditional sport, mostly swimming, but how do you teach kids to slow down more and focus on the details rather than just going fast every second they're training?
All right. This is a great question. This is what my whole life is about, basically. How do you teach people to value the process? How do you give joy in the process to, not just kids, right? Pro players, children, youth sport, to everybody. How do you turn that focus on victory and turn it into a healthy focus on perfection and mastery through joy in the process? And so I'll give you some answers. One is philosophical, one is really practical. So the first practical answer and the first step that I do is basically gratefulness. The number one kind of easiest way to kick this off is to do gratefulness conditioning, which is you list 3 things that you're grateful for every single morning, or every single start of training, or every single time you start an activity with a group or whatever. You sit them down, you have them list 3 things you're grateful for. There's some specific guidance to it. One of the guidances is that you shouldn't pick things that are, big and huge. Things like, oh, I'm so grateful that there's world peace, and I'm so grateful that I have water, and like kind of these massive things that aren't relevant to the particular time and place. And instead, you try to find very local things that happen in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, things that your brain normally passes over that you just never notice. Right. And you can do this after a training, and you can have them ask, and you can specifically ask, think about things during the training if you want to do that, or think about things during the practice. And this forces the brain over time to take more appreciation in the momentary things that you can enjoy about life that normally just end up being first world problems, you would say. So that's a real practical suggestion for kicking it off. And then the rest of it is just constant coaching, constant parenting, I would say, of the details. You have to point out people's effort and people's success in terms of their approaching their goals rather than victory and loss. You have to parent people and coach people to understand winning and losing as part of this motivating, cyclical process of joy in the experience. You have to really get people to hone in on the experience of life I mix this a lot with mindfulness and acceptance commitment therapy. So the MAC program, essentially, when I'm with pro teams, I make sure that every single coaching action that I take revolves around the idea of this intrinsic motivation that comes from the joy of pursuing mastery, while at the same time having this competitive fire. And I mean, if you listen to things that Rick Fox puts out on YouTube, you'll hear a lot of the same kind of stuff. You can tell the guy is just wrapped in the joy of life, and that he expressed that very much through his athletic career. Maybe not when he was an athlete, right? I think he's even actually mentioned something like that. Like he regrets a little bit how he could have been, more focused on this when he was an athlete. I think I heard that in an interview when somebody was asking him about getting back into sport here as a team owner. But it's very much one and the same in terms of his mindset and the mindset that you are seeking to impart to other people, and that you should be practicing and working on yourself as well. Because this doesn't extend just to sport and to competition and success, but it also involves life and the ability to say, okay, I'm forgiving myself for the things that are imperfect about what I'm doing right now as I'm pursuing mastery in my life, and mastery of myself and mastery of my own self-discipline. And at the same time, I'm taking joy in each step of self-discipline that I can achieve and when I do achieve it. And I'm not letting myself off the hook necessarily for the things that I'm forgiving myself for emotionally, but I'm still feeling the pain of those while not carrying them as a burden, and instead being free and joyful about the process of growth. So that is the answer to me, and I hope that it makes sense to you, RJ Scott, and good luck with your teaching and your coaching. Okay, final question. Before we get to the last question of the day, I want to take a moment to go more into detail about something I mentioned during that question, which was the MAC program, which is my training program, which is how I support this channel and everything that I do related to it. And it's basically a video training course that is online right now. And I say right now because you can also download the videos, I think, so it could be offline technically, but also it may be coming to an app near you soon. But it's my online video training course, 50 videos. Why did my freaking light turn on? What the heck? There we go. Yeah, it's a 50 video training course, seven days for 7 weeks. You can complete it that fast, or you can do 3 videos a week and stretch it out over 3 months. And it's the same content that I have been teaching with pro teams in person. Sorry that I'm not doing this in person. It's a little bit strenuous on my time, but it would be a little bit strenuous on my time. But anyway, this video program covers the same exact concepts in kind of a cyclical manner, descending down as an onion, layer by layer, into the core concepts as you get better and better at practicing them in your own life through the lectures. So it's essentially a lecture and a mindfulness training every single day, and you put them together and you have this wonderful program that I am such a fan of. When I discovered it, in its kind of like 7-day form in a book that was transporting from the realm of education to the realm of sport, this concept of mindfulness and high performance. And I took it and I ran with it. And I've been using it in my practice for 5 years already, 5 or 6 years. And this program is on its now 3rd iteration, working on its 4th. And it is essentially the same thing as I do in my practice, but trying to turn it into a format that like you could just take and do in your time, on your time. And I think it's pretty cheap. I tried to price it at a point where people could access it and it would still be meaningful in terms of its development of my brand that would allow me to build it and make it bigger and better. And you can always use the code AskWeldon to get the $5 discount. This is more to show that you're coming from this place in my brand rather than somewhere else, like the podcast or something. And it comes with this, as you can see over here, this really cheesy kind of graphic 100% guarantee. That doesn't mean you're guaranteed to succeed. It means you're guaranteed to like it, or you can just message me and say, hey, can I have a refund? And you get money back. I think there's actually a refund button somewhere on the dashboard. You can just click it and exchange your account back for your money. So that's the 100% guarantee. Anyway, make sure that you check it out, mindgames.gg/MAC. Last question from Chad Markle, and he asks, a lot of times when I'm with friends, I overthink what I'm saying to them. And I feel guilty when I think something I said maybe triggered them in an emotional way. And then I can't get over it. What is happening? Okay, so there's a number of things happening here. First, you're overthinking it, and then you're thinking maybe you triggered them, and then you're not getting over it. Okay, so I want to focus on the getting over it part, because I don't think it's necessarily very easy to not pay attention to your friends and to not think that maybe you triggered them and to not feel guilty about that, but you can get over it. So the way that you get over it is, first of all, through rationalizing self-talk. So you want to, when you have these kind of thoughts, you want to just stop your brain. You want to just say, stop, thoughts, stop, maybe visualize all of your thoughts smash into a massive brick wall. That might help. And then make sure that you get a little perspective, right? So you're thinking, okay, what is going on in my life? Why did I say the thing that I said? There's a cyclical pattern to learning and to growth. Maybe like right now, I just can't handle this kind of thing. And so that's just the state I'm in. And, when I have a little bit more money and I can take them out to lunch, like that'll be a different case. Or when I'm a little bit better emotionally myself, I'll be able to give back to somebody. So make sure that you look at perspective of your own life and see how kind you can be in a certain moment. I know that I've had friends personally that I can't necessarily hang out with, and it's because I'm not with it enough. Like maybe their life is a little crazy, and that's why I can't have them, affecting me right now. But it is really kind of my fault because I'm the one who's able to not tolerate that and to still be productive and consistent in my life. So I just recognize, that it's me and that I can't really treat them right now, and that it's cyclical, and maybe in a few months, I'll be in a better place and we can start hanging out again. And that's just the way it is. Or I have these people that, I have very obligated debts to, and I know that I'm either going to have to pay it forward or pay it back to them with interest in terms of my kindness, or else it's just going to eat away at me, right? But the first thing you have to do is think about the cycles of life and the way that you kind of collect intrinsic debt towards other people, the social debt, and then you either pay it forward with interest by becoming a kind, compassionate person, or you pay it back with interest when you have the opportunity and the awareness to do so. So that's the first step, is just thinking and rationalizing about yourself and your failings in that way. Then the second one, getting over it. So this just takes, I would say the best reset switch is actually the same activity I mentioned earlier. So let me bring it back up. Gratefulness conditioning. Okay, this is the reset switch I use to immediately, in the moment, get my brain out of that place by thinking, what am I grateful for in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, listing them out. What am I grateful for about, my life and what's going on? And just kind of like kick your head out of that spot. And then the way that you have to essentially erase I would say the castle of self-created emotional melodrama in your head, where you think something and you're like, what if, and then it just builds up into this massive castle of what ifs and I want to say like pain and torture that you're kind of inflicting on yourself. The way that you get rid of that is you have to not build it in the first place. So first you push the reset switch, ka-chunk, destroy the castle. Then you prevent it from building up by being mindful and aware of your thought process. And when you get to something where it's like starting to cycle around and you're talking to yourself into these tizzies, you have to stop them. And you have to just focus on reality and focus on the present. And you have to accept the base emotion of what is going on. The base emotion, usually shame, okay, or guilt of some sort. You have to let that in, just accept it for what it is at that moment, this base emotion. Usually it's a very soft thing, okay? Usually we take these very soft emotions, and in an effort to avoid them and run away from them, we build these massive thought castles that end up being more painful to us. So accept that base emotion of shame and just be like, yep, that's me right now. And forgive yourself, and then commit yourself to being better in the future, if that helps. And that's it. Then just let it go. Don't continue on with the buildup. So that is to me the key of the process. Is number one, you have this stopping mechanism and this reset switch. Okay. Then you do a little bit of reflection and you feel this kind of like light base emotional tinge that is causing you to run down this path. And then you have to accept it. and you have to let it color you, and you have to not let it harm you, so you have to forgive yourself as well. A little bit of a confessional here. It's really good if you're Catholic because you can practice this. You can go to confessional, and then the commitment to something that you value really helps you turn that emotion and that tinge into motivation that then moves you forward in terms of action, practical action, and usually action will help solve the guilt associated with inaction. So that's it. That's the show today, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I know I went a little bit long on that last question, but I feel like it was really a two-part question. And then the other one also, we had another two-part question, the prevention and the cure for back pain. So we only have 4 questions today, and I really dug into them, and I appreciate you coming out. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, because this is where I'm doing my story, my everyday story, where I go to the gym, and you can see in the background, you can ask me questions over DM. Snapchat also works. It's the same exact handle. I do pretty much the same story on both of them, so you can see back and forth. I am about to head to the gym right now, so if you follow me right now on the live audience, you can catch that immediately. If you're within 24 hours, I upload this during the day. If you're within 24 hours, the story will still be live. You can see what I did this morning after I said goodbye to you all. Ciao, guys.